New York spends billions with subways under the streets and fiber optics beneath our feet, yet the world's wealthiest city still piles garbage in black bags on the curb, just like it did in the 1890s. Cities like Tokyo and Stockholm vanquished street trash decades ago. So why does New York, after closing the Fresh Kills landfill in 2001, ship millions of tons of waste out of sight each year, while trash stays in plain view? The answer reveals how a global capital can act like a city trapped in the past. Fresh Kills began as a temporary answer to New York's mounting waste problem. In 1948, the city opened the landfill on Staten Island, carving out 2,200 acres of tidal marshland for what was supposed to be a 3-year fix. But the garbage kept coming, and Fresh Kills grew with it. By the mid-1950s, it had already become the largest landfill on Earth. At its height, the site swallowed up to 29,000 tons of trash a day, with 4 massive mounds rising as high as 225 feet, visible from miles away, a man-made mountain range of refuse. For decades, Fresh Kills was the city's answer to an ever-expanding population and its cast-offs. Barges and trucks delivered a daily tide of garbage from every borough. The landfill's scale was staggering. More than 150 million tons accumulated over half a century. Yet the site became a symbol of everything the city wanted to leave behind: endless odor complaints, lawsuits from neighbors, and environmental warnings that could no longer be ignored. In 1996, a New York state law set a deadline. The landfill would close by the end of 2001. On March 22, 2001, the last barge arrived, capping an era that had defined the city's waste management for generations. Just months later, Fresh Kills reopened briefly to process debris from the World Trade Center, its final act as the city's dumping ground. With the closure, New York lost its only remaining landfill overnight, setting off a scramble for alternatives that would shape the city's garbage story for decades to come. Every morning before sunrise, thousands of sanitation workers fan out across New York's 5 boroughs. Their routes are mapped out to the block, each team responsible for collecting a slice of the city's daily output, over 11,000 tons of residential trash bagged and left on the curb. The numbers add up quickly. Each year, New Yorkers produce between 3.7 and 4 million tons of garbage. The Department of Sanitation's annual budget hovers around $2 billion, supporting a workforce of about 8,000 uniformed employees. On the ground, the routine is relentless. Crews navigate traffic, double-parked cars, and unpredictable weather, hoisting bags by hand into waiting trucks. Some neighborhoods see pickups several times a week, while others wait longer depending on density and demand. The work doesn't end at collection. Trucks haul the waste to one of 14 transfer stations scattered across the city. There, the bags are loaded onto barges or rail cars, beginning a journey that often ends hundreds of miles away in out-of-state landfills or incinerators. The city's collection choreography is a feat of logistics, but the system remains stubbornly visible. Piles of black bags line sidewalks night after night, a reminder that, for all its modern infrastructure, New York still relies on a method that would look familiar to a resident of 1890. Sanitation workers know the job is thankless and physically demanding, but they keep the city moving block by block, bag by bag. The contrast with cities that have banished street trash entirely is hard to ignore, and it is a comparison New Yorkers are beginning to confront. Tokyo's waste system starts with the basics: no bags left on the curb, no piles waiting overnight. Instead, residents sort their trash into strict categories, following detailed schedules enforced by neighborhood monitors and city fines. In busy districts, solar-powered smart bins compress waste and send real-time alerts when they are full. These bins hold 6 times more than a standard can, cutting the number of collections by up to 70%. The result is a city where trash rarely lingers in public view, and collection trucks run fewer, more efficient routes. Stockholm's Hammarby's Jostad district takes a different approach. Here, waste drops through chutes in each building and disappears into underground pneumatic tubes. The system whisks sorted garbage at high speed to a central plant, where it is processed for recycling or energy recovery. By routing trash below ground, Stockholm has cut garbage truck traffic by 90% in these neighborhoods, nearly eliminating odors and vermin. The upfront cost, about $10 million per kilometer, was offset over time by lower operating expenses and cleaner streets. Engineers credit the system with boosting recycling rates and making waste management nearly invisible to residents. In Seoul, neighborhoods like Songdo use automated bins equipped with sensors and pay-per-use technology. Residents scan cards to deposit bags, and the bins alert collection crews when they are nearing capacity. App-based tracking lets both the city and users monitor pickups in real time. Since installing these systems, Seoul has seen a 70% drop in emissions from garbage trucks and a dramatic reduction in street litter. Engineers there say the key was demonstrating the return on investment to city officials and residents alike: cleaner air, quieter streets, and less visible waste. Across these cities, the message is clear: modern systems can make garbage almost disappear from daily life while cutting costs and improving public health. Each model sets a benchmark that New York has yet to match. New York's waste system isn't just a matter of old habits. It is held in place by layers of contracts, labor agreements, and political inertia. The city's Department of Sanitation operates under multi-year hauling deals that lock in both public and private carting firms for specific zones, often with renewal clauses that stretch these arrangements for decades. Each contract is designed for reliability, but it also makes it difficult to overhaul the system or introduce sweeping changes. Attempts to modernize, for example, underground waste systems or citywide containerization, have repeatedly run aground during procurement and planning. Proposals for automated collection or pneumatic tubes in places like Hudson Yards in Lower Manhattan stalled before construction, tangled in budget overruns and bureaucratic delays. Labor unions, especially Teamsters Local 831, representing thousands of sanitation workers, stand as powerful defenders of the status quo. Their position is rooted in history. Strikes in the late 1960s and the 1970s brought the city to a standstill, winning job protections and pay parity with other city workers. Today, the union's leadership is quick to challenge any reform that threatens jobs, from automation pilots to new container systems. Even incremental changes, like the rollout of wheeled bins for small buildings, are negotiated step by step to avoid layoffs or reduced overtime. City Council hearings on AI and automation in 2024 echoed these concerns, with union representatives demanding guarantees that technology would supplement, not replace, workers. The result is a system where every policy shift faces resistance, not just from workers, but from the web of exclusive agreements and procurement rules that govern how trash moves through New York. Efforts to match the efficiency of Tokyo or Stockholm run up against this wall of institutional caution, leaving curbside piles as a daily reality for millions. On West 125th Street, a sanitation crew moves down the block, tossing bag after bag into the hopper. One worker with 30 years on the job says the route now takes twice as long as it did a decade ago. Pandemic shortages forced him to double up on shifts, hauling away mountains of trash that never seemed to shrink. Businesses along the avenue felt the strain too. Melvin Johnson, who runs a small grocery near Lenox Avenue, watched customers cross the street to avoid the piles, especially when rats darted between bags. He lost regulars during the worst weeks, and some never came back. Shopkeepers say deliveries are delayed, sidewalks are crowded, and the smell lingers long after sunrise. City data backs them up. In 2020, missed pickups and overflowing bags nearly doubled in some neighborhoods. For workers and merchants alike, the cost of keeping garbage curbside is measured not just in overtime and lost sales, but in the daily grind of trying to keep the city livable. In Seneca Falls, New York, the air sometimes carries a sharp, rotten smell that drifts for miles. Residents keep their windows closed, even on summer nights. Over 1,200 odor complaints have been logged in just the past year, many pointing to Seneca Meadows, the state's largest landfill and a major destination for New York City's exported trash. Local families gather for protest rallies, holding signs that blame the city's waste for making their town unlivable. In July 2022, more than 200 people turned out to demand action, and a federal lawsuit soon followed, citing Clean Air Act violations tied to landfill operations. Health officials report a 15% rise in asthma cases downwind of the site since 2020. In Virginia and Pennsylvania, similar stories play out with hundreds of odor complaints, emergency room visits for respiratory issues, and community blockades of waste trains. For these towns, New York's garbage is not just a distant problem, it is a daily intrusion, reshaping the air they breathe and the future they imagine for their children. New York moves 11,000 tons of trash every day, yet still lines its streets with black bags. As cities worldwide innovate beneath the surface, New Yorkers face a simple choice: accept the status quo or demand something better. Progress starts with what we're willing to see and what we refuse to ignore.